I guess that's our cue to start. Well, welcome everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to the Lansing Shuffle. If you haven't been here before, this is a building for us that is exciting. It stands as a symbol of Lansing's resurgence. This was the former capital city, or this is former city market, and we've been able to repurpose this, which is exciting. When I took office almost 6 years ago now, I knew that we had to transform this space into something incredible for our community, and we worked together, and we got it done earlier this year with help from all different parties. So I was proud to be here for the grand opening, and sometimes when you work hard on something, you're honored in unique ways, so everyone can just ignore the picture over there. I love when you say ignore it and everybody turns their head. Everybody can ignore the picture over there. It's a unique honor, and it's kind of a fun joke here in Lansing. Like so many Michigan cities, Lansing is working hard to attract and retain families and workers and retirees. I know we've got the mayor of Grand Rapids here, who's a good friend, Rosalind Bliss. And we're all working on this. We're working on it together. We're focusing on building housing for all family sizes and incomes and investing in job creators of all sizes. This includes small businesses creating jobs by ones and twos, as well as large-scale projects. And here, we've got Ultium Battery that's going to be employing nearly 2,000 highly skilled workers and build the next generation of electric vehicles right here in Lansing. We're really excited. We are proud to be Michigan's capital city, and we're going to continue to grow Lansing for everyone. By partnering with the state of Michigan, including our governor and her administrations, welcome to all the administration officials, and as well as our friends in the legislature, and thank you to everybody here in the legislature who have been incredible to work from, we have seen incredible progress on so many fronts. Hundreds of new housing units are in development right now in Lansing. Very soon, 2 new live entertainment venues in our downtown will be wowing crowds and breathing new life into our central business district. And that was done with the help of the state, with the help of regional partners, the MEDC, I saw the director here, and the governor. And the last time Governor Whitmer and I were here together here at this location was August of 2021. We had a press conference just outside on the banks of the Grand River in Rotary Park. This building, the Shuffle, was under construction, and all the speakers were huddled here in between plastic sheets and building equipment before heading outside for the press conference. At that press conference, the governor proposed investments that seemed incredibly ambitious at the time. Record amounts in workforce programs, housing, community revitalization, and economic development. Not just for Lansing, although we certainly appreciate the Lansing part, but for so many communities across our great state. And in the 2 years since, this administration has delivered on every single one of those priorities. Every single one. And now, here we are inside this tremendously successful Lansing Shuffle, a waterfront gathering spot to grab some food, drink, and even some incredible ice cream that my wife and I go to pretty often. Sometimes all of those, together, you can get everything here. Those who've heard me speak may have heard me say that Lansing's time is now. I say it pretty often. Well, today, we're going to say that Michigan's time is now. This building in the city of Lansing has come a long way in 2 years. Michigan, our home, has come a long way in 2 years. And in the years ahead, by working together, we'll go even further. So now it's my privilege to introduce our next speaker. While he hails from Detroit, I appreciate all the time he spent getting to know our great city of Lansing, from attending a forum on affordable housing hosted by one of our incredible community partners, to welcoming the crowd and listening to music at one of our free concerts in a park a week or two ago, to touring a 100-year-old historic pool and having to duck through to crouch on his way on the undersides of it. There was nothing funnier than seeing our Lieutenant Governor ducking and checking out the pool. Our Representative Devendorf was there, we can tell you. He has been just an incredible advocate, not just for his home of Detroit, not just for Lansing, but for this entire state. I want to welcome my friend, Lieutenant Governor Garland Grillcrest.
Thank you, Mayor Shore, and hello, everybody. This is such an exciting day, such an exciting opportunity, an exciting moment. And the progress that Mayor Shore talked about has been spearheaded by a strong team. And I especially want to call attention to the work that's been happening by the state senators and state legislators who represent every region of Michigan and the progress that we're making together. Now, part of my job is I have the privilege of being the president of the Michigan Senate. So that means I get to work with and see these passionate public servants every single day. They fight hard for their people, their districts, their constituents. And every piece of legislation that they have delivered is the result of the level of conversation and engagement that they have with the people whom they serve. Now, this new Democratic majority has gotten so much done because they know that the answers to the questions, the solutions to the challenges that we face, they come from the people who actually deal with them every single day. So I want to take a couple of minutes just to go through what we've made happen this year and know that we've made it possible truly to get every person closer to being able to make it in Michigan. And I want to highlight the legislators who helped to make that happen. I want to start with Representative Angela Whitmer, who helped with her legislation and this team roll back the retirement tax on our seniors. This has saved 500,000 households in Michigan an average of $1,000. And I got to be honest, this was important because in addition to saving all these people money, it's gotten my father off of my back. He would call me every day and remind me every day what his pension number was. And when we asked me when we were going to get it repealed, and now we actually got it done. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of these legislators who made it happen. I also want to give a shout out to Senator Kristen McDonald-Rivet, whose work helped us quintuple the working families tax credit. This has put hundreds of dollars in the pockets of 700,000+ families in Michigan. And make no mistake about it, half of the children in Michigan live in a household that will benefit from the quintupling of this tax credit. It's helping working mothers and fathers pay the bills, put food on the table, and make sure that their children have what they need to thrive. Now, under the leadership of our Education Appropriations Subcommittee chairs, Senator Darren Camilleri and Representative Regina Weiss, we have delivered free breakfast and free lunch to all 1.4 million Michigan public school children. This is going to save families an average of $850 per child. Per child. That's a lot of money. And ensures that kids can actually focus on learning rather than focusing on their bellies. It's going to make a huge difference for parents, families, and households. And again, to be selfish for a second, it saves me time in the morning. This is real. Now, another action we took to support parents is by paving the way in this budget to expand pre-K education to 5,600 kids this fall. Now, that is going to save those families an average of $10,000 every year and give every child in that group a solid foundation. It is a huge step towards our goal of universal pre-K education for every child in Michigan by the end of the governor and I's second term. I mean, as a father, I'm incredibly proud of the work that we've done on a bipartisan basis to support families with children. This perspective of parents is critical to making sure that we enact policies that are really going to make a difference in people's lives. And our administration has been and will continue to be committed to making sure that parents are an essential part of the policymaking process. I'm really proud of the fact that so many of the recommendations that were made by our Michigan Parents Council that we established last year made it into and are reflected in the state budget. Now, our investments in education, frankly, don't stop there. I want to call out Senator Sarah Anthony's leadership. We helped to lower the age of eligibility for the Michigan Reconnect program from 25 to 21, opening more wide a door to tuition-free associate's degrees and skill certifications for more than 350,000 additional Michiganders. This program is an essential connection of businesses to the talent that they need to grow, expand, and succeed. And yes, we are continuing all this damn road construction. And we are fixing roads and bridges like no one ever has in the history of the state of Michigan. 20,000 lane miles of road, 1,400 bridges, just since we've taken office alone. And this has supported 118,000 high-quality, great-paying jobs for the people of Michigan. Now, by working with members on both sides of the aisle, though, we've worked to foster economic growth. We've forged powerful new economic development tools. We've also made record bipartisan investments in building more affordable housing, pursuing community revitalization projects in every region of the state of Michigan, because everyone is part of our future. And we've also worked to shore up workers' rights here in the state of Michigan with passionate advocacy. We've done so with passionate advocacy from leaders like Senator John Cherry and Representative Brenda Carter. We also have got this done to make sure that people in Michigan can join unions for better pay, for stronger benefits, and for safer workplaces. Thanks to the leadership of Representative Lori Pohutsky, we have repealed our draconian 1931 ban on abortion services. Thanks to the leadership of Senator Jeremy Moss, we expanded the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act to explicitly protect under the law our LGBTQ community in the state of Michigan. And thanks to Senators Rosemary Baer, to Senator Mallory McMorrow, to Representative Kelly Breen, and Representative Ranjiv Puri, we have enacted common sense laws to prevent more gun violence and save lives in the state of Michigan. Now I'm finished with that part, it's a lot. Because we've got a lot done, and we have these legislators to thank for it, and I'm proud to work alongside them. It's important that we do take some time to take a step back and understand and remind our fellow Michiganders of just how far we've come in this time. But we're humble people in Michigan, so we don't do that very often, but it's important to take note. Now that said, we're really here is to focus on what comes next, which is one of the most challenging, inspiring, and motivating questions that a person can ask themselves on any given day. Now, as public servants, our whole job, our entire responsibility is to create space for people to be safe, to be productive, and to be successful. And to make Michigan a place where people will choose to grow, to be their best, and to build a bright future. So I'm reminded of the words from world-renowned architect Emilio Ambas, who summed up how I feel about this moment and about our future, when he said, whenever you talk to an architect, you ask them what their best building is, and they always reply, the next one. So let's get to what's next. And so with that, it's my honor and privilege to bring up my partner in public service, my friend, and our governor of the great state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Lansing Shuffle. You know, this building that we are in stands as a symbol of Lansing's resurgence, as the mayor said, and that's why we wanted to host this event here. So I want to thank you, Mayor Shore and Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist. I'm excited to be here as we round out 8 months of history and progress. Today, I want to answer one question, and that is, what's next, right? It's a question we love to ask in Michigan. It's in our DNA. As tough, competitive people, we are always focused on what's next. How do we take Michigan to the next level? How do we compete to win the future? How do we help anyone and everyone make it in Michigan? That idea of making it in Michigan has been the North Star of our economic development vision. We're focused on winning projects, investing in people, and revitalizing places. And the good news is that we are seeing results. In Representative Church's district, the former Wyandotte City Hall is being converted into a mixed-use building, creating jobs and commercial space for small businesses using brownfield redevelopment funds. In Senator McDonald Rivet's Bay City district, SK Siltron is making semiconductor wafers in Michigan instead of overseas. And we've seen how chip shortages and long lead times result in unfinished cars sitting in lots. In the Traverse City area, Representative Kafia's district, a 91-unit apartment building is being built, expanding local housing, supply, and lowering costs for residents. The GM Delta Assembly Plant, not far from here, added a third shift last month, right next to where GM is building a brand new battery facility, creating 1,700 jobs thanks to our bipartisan economic development efforts. And there are other battery plants being built across Michigan, bringing critical supply chains home. In Big Rapids, we're creating over 2,300 jobs. In Marshall, 2,500. In Representative Miller's district, Michigan-made Our Next Energy is creating more than 2,100 good-paying jobs. These new battery plants will be game changers, supporting thousands of families, uplifting local businesses, and ensuring that our cities and towns thrive for decades to come. They'll help Michigan go toe-to-toe with China, bringing critical parts of the auto supply chain home. We must reduce our reliance on Chinese products, which have caused work stoppages, shortages, and car price hikes over the last few years. A cornerstone of making communities better places to live, to work, and to invest is public safety. Growth and safety go hand in hand. People want to live, and businesses want to invest in places where they feel safe. Since I took office, we have invested $1.5 billion in public safety, including funding to recruit and train police officers to make our communities safer, resources for mental health and addiction treatment, and other investments to tackle the root causes of crime. This year's bipartisan budget builds on that so we can buy firefighters new gear, upgrade correctional facilities, and so much more. I want to thank my partner, Speaker Tate, for his focus on public safety. Both Speaker Tate and Mayor Duggan are working on legislation to secure dedicated funding targeted toward public safety and fighting crime to make our communities safer. I will work with them to get it done. And I shouldn't roll over a legislator, clapping for the agenda I want to get done. And that brings us to what's next. Well, my answer has 4 parts. What's next on the fall agenda for Michigan is the health of our people, the health of our planet, the health of our economy, and the health of our democracy. So let's dig in. First, the health of our people. Last year, before Roe was overturned, we sprang into action. We filed a lawsuit to protect access to reproductive health care. In November, Michiganders voted overwhelmingly to protect abortion rights in our state constitution. In April, we repealed the 1931 law that banned abortion without exceptions for rape or incest. Slaying our zombie laws was great, but there are still other bad laws that put politically motivated, medically unnecessary restrictions on abortion. This forces patients to drive hundreds of miles for care, or mandate that they receive biased, inaccurate information about their health. With the U.S. Supreme Court stripping away basic rights, we must be proactive about repealing these antiquated state laws. This is an issue that I hear from people who write to me, people like Rachel from Kalamazoo. She wants her daughter to live in a state where she is, quote, in control of her mind, body, health, and future. Rachel is right. This fall, let's pass the Reproductive Health Act and roll back these harmful restrictions. Let's protect the freedom to make your own decisions without interference from politicians, and let's get it done. This fall, let's also, I appreciate your enthusiasm. This fall, let's also do more to lower the cost of health care. In 2017, I worked across the aisle to establish the Healthy Michigan Plan. And thanks to the Affordable Care Act, we were able to get it done. We expanded care to over 1 million Michiganders, lowering costs, guaranteeing essential coverage, and improving health outcomes. This fall, let's codify the common sense, cost-saving measures of the ACA, including protections for pre-existing conditions, so you can't be charged more for having cancer, diabetes, or being pregnant. Permitting children to stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26. Banning annual or lifetime caps so you can't hit a limit on the care that you receive. And requiring insurance plans to cover essential services like ambulance services, maternity care, mental health treatment, and birth control. Every Michigander deserves quality, affordable care. Another way that we can save Michiganders money is by tackling the high cost of prescription drugs. Now, we have made strides. Early last term, I established the Prescription Drugs Task Force, and I want to thank the Senate Majority Leader, Winnie Brinks, and Representative Vanderwall, both of whom were members. They proposed several policies and actions to drive down the cost of prescription drugs. In February 2022, I signed 3 bills, holding pharmacy benefit managers accountable, increasing transparency, and expanding consumer choice for generics. I want to thank the President Biden, for his Inflation Reduction Act. The cost of insulin, because of that act, was capped at $35 a month, and Medicare will start negotiating for lower drug prices. Unfortunately, we know too many people still pay too much out of pocket to get the medicines they can't live without. Like Kay from Genesee County. She's working full-time as a nurse. She often skipped refills on her own prescriptions because they were not covered. One of her asthma medications was thousands of dollars a month, on top of 2 inhalers for prescriptions and prescriptions for other issues. She needed medicine to breathe, but the exorbitant cost offered her absolutely no breathing room, especially while raising her 2 kids. She deserves better. Let's further lower the cost of prescription drugs by implementing the task force's remaining recommendations, like establishing an independent, nonpartisan prescription drug affordability board made up of leaders in economics, healthcare, supply chain, and academics. The board would use data and evidence-based research to tackle the cost of prescription drugs. We need to hold bad actors across the supply chain accountable for skyrocketing prices, while also encouraging R&D for new treatments and cures made right here in Michigan. Nobody should have to make impossible choices between getting better and paying the bills. Let's get it done. Now let's talk about the health of our planet. All right, the health of our air, our land, and our lakes. In the decades ahead, Michigan is going to be a destination for people seeking safe water, clean air, and opportunity. We will also, however, continue to face extreme weather events caused by climate change. Just think about the last 10 days we've all lived through. We must face climate change head-on and grow our economy. Too often, we think of these objectives as trade-offs: environmental protection or economic development, cost of living or quality of life, invest in the future or live in the now. No more false choices. Let's harness the power of and. We can protect our natural resources and produce energy cheaper. We can bring supply chains home and lower costs for families. We will put the Michigan Healthy Climate Plan into action. First, let's enact a 100% clean energy standard for Michigan. This means all the energy we produce will be from wind, solar, or other common sense sources. It means clean air for our kids to breathe and safe water for them to drink. It means protecting our lakes for generations to come. We can achieve 100% clean energy while balancing reliability and affordability. In fact, we have been doing it. Let's work together to improve energy efficiency programs. The cleanest, cheapest energy is energy we don't use. Actions like sealing windows, upgrading appliances, or wrapping your water heater reduce energy waste. It's why our utilities prioritize efficiency. Together, we can reduce energy waste to meet our clean energy goals and help Michiganders save money. To hit these clean energy goals, the Public Service Commission needs more tools. First, it should be easier to create jobs and build wind and solar projects. Let's permit clean energy projects through the MPSC, just like all other sources of energy. This ensures local perspectives are reflected in the planning process while also allowing us to move faster on installation. And let's pay the workers building these large clean energy projects wages you can raise a family on. Second, let's authorize the Commission to incorporate climate and equity into their regulatory decisions. The Flint water crisis, yes. The Flint water crisis shows what can happen if we don't put health first. As we expand clean energy, we must protect our communities from pollution. By 2050, these actions would save Michigan families $5.5 billion in household energy costs, create 160,000 jobs, and bring home $14.7 billion of federal funding. We can achieve 100% clean energy while creating jobs, lowering costs, and bringing back billions of our federal tax dollars from Washington home to Michigan. Let's get it done. Michiganders work hard. The numbers prove it. Our unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in 23 years. "23 years, that's when Eminem dropped the real Slim Shady." More Michiganders are working too, as our labor force participation rate is continuing to tick up. To make life easier, we have delivered on policies that make a real difference. Safe roads, affordable housing, quality education, strong unions, and so much more. When Michigan families succeed, Michigan's economy thrives. And that's why it's time for paid family and medical leave. This issue is personal. When I had my first daughter, I was also caring for my mom, who was dying of brain cancer. I was sandwiched between them. That time in my life forged me, and it showed me the challenges that so many Michiganders live every single day. I had my first child during my first legislative term. And I was a scrapbooker, if you can't tell. I wanted to be a great mom and policymaker. But I had some advantages most people don't, like resources and a strong support network. Even with help, raising a child, caring for yourself, and juggling your work is hard. And that's why we need paid family and medical leave. It helps workers be there for their families. It gives you breathing room to get better when you're sick, to bond with your baby, or care for a family member. Right now, 77% of Michigan workers do not have access to paid family and medical leave. They deserve better. As governor, I was proud to establish 12 weeks of paid parental leave for all state employees. Nearly 3,500 people have used it to spend time with their newborns, forming lifelong bonds. While many large companies already offer this benefit, small businesses often cannot afford to. When we enact paid leave, it'll level the playing field and help small businesses attract and retain workers. It'll make a difference for people like Adam from Clinton Township. His employer offers 6 weeks of paternal leave, but Adam's wife does not receive any maternal leave. She was forced to use short-term disability to spend time with their newborn. They deserve better. Surveys show paid leave is one of the top 3 policies that people prioritize when deciding where to relocate. A majority of adults who plan to move in the next 2 years would be more likely to go somewhere with it. This is a priority for all workers, but it's especially true for women. Women who make up half our workforce and often bear the brunt of caretaking responsibilities. So many of us have points in our lives when we have a baby or an aging parent or a sick spouse, sometimes 2 of those things at once. But not all of us have access to paid family and medical leave, and we deserve better. No one should have to choose between being there for their family and a paycheck. Paid family and medical leave is a pro-family, pro-small business policy that will grow our state and its economy. So let's get this done too. Moving on, we all know that growing the economy depends on our ability to deliver for workers, businesses, and communities. There is no either or, it is always and both. So let's talk about another challenge that is vital to unleashing our economic potential: permitting. I hear from business leaders, especially folks in other states, about how no state has gotten permitting quite right yet. Michigan should be the first. This is a bipartisan priority, and I know we can get it done. We are living through a manufacturing boom, the likes of which we have not seen since the 1960s. Construction spending by American manufacturers more than doubled over the last year. We're building a heck of a lot the right way, but we need to pick up the pace. To build more, faster, and harness the full power of our economic development toolkit, let's streamline our permitting process for advanced manufacturing, infrastructure, housing, and more. Over the years, I've issued some executive directives to improve our permitting processes, but we need legislation to make long overdue strides. Let's compete with other states and nations to bring jobs and businesses back home, to build Michigan up and to build the future here in Michigan. And finally, I want to discuss the structure underlying all the work we are doing together this fall: our democracy. I want to thank my partners, Attorney General Dana Nessel and Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, for leading in this space. Last November, Michiganders voted overwhelmingly to pass Proposal 2, making it easier to vote in a secure way. However, as we see around the nation, the threats against the integrity of our elections are alive and well. As we look back on the 2020 election, there was a concerted, coordinated effort not only to overturn the result, but to intimidate voters prior to the election and to threaten poll workers during the counting process. We have expanded voting rights. Now we must shore up election security. We cannot allow the will of the people to be tossed out or overturned, and we can't permit politicians to stay in office despite getting voted out. We must ensure that Michiganders are heard and respected. Today, we've celebrated the progress we've made together and started an essential conversation about what's next. Our plans are ambitious, but they're achievable. Let's get them done so we can build a bright future for Michigan. I've spoken often about the last few years about how we need to believe in Michigan. I know that Michiganders love our state, and we have been through a lot, especially the last 40 years. We've made strides to reverse those trends by delivering on issues that make a real difference in people's lives. We have made progress. Our list of accomplishments, our growing, diversifying economy, and our strong financial position prove that what we are doing is working. That feeling you're seeing in every region of our state is hope. Michiganders believe in Michigan. Now that we can all see what we are capable of, let's tell the world. Michiganders are known for our kindness and our humility. We got a lot done, but we are not the best at telling our story. Today that ends. Today we go from just believing in Michigan to bragging about Michigan. Every conversation with folks from other states should start with, "Hi, I live in Michigan, and here's why you should too." After all, what's not to love? Personal freedom and economic opportunity, Great Lakes and majestic forests, world-class cities and growing small towns, grit and grace. We have it all, so let's tell the story. Because we're Michiganders, damn it, and there's nothing better than that. We have a lot more good work to do and only a few months before the new year. We see what's next, so let's work together and get it done. I thank you all, and I'm excited about what the present is in Michigan and what the future horizon looks like for us. Let's make sure we realize all that potential. Thank you so much.